Tonight, Canada will drop counter-tariffs on most U.S. goods.
We are matching something the Americans have done, and it's very significant, it's unique, we get the benefit.
The Prime Minister's shift in strategy.
His elbows have mysteriously gone missing.
But is it enough to reset trade talks? Newly released court documents show police do not believe the mysterious disappearance of Lilly and Jack Sullivan is criminal.
It's not like I have anything to hide.
What was happening behind the scenes in the investigation? Canadians fed up by being put on hold by the Canada Revenue Agency.
It's becoming traumatic.
Why the union is warning it could get even worse.
From CBC News, this is The National with Susan Ormiston.
Thanks for joining us. In just over a week, a wide swath of Canada's retaliatory tariffs slapped on U.S. goods will be eliminated. But the Prime Minister says those on steel, aluminum, and autos will remain. It's a major shift as Ottawa works to establish a new trade relationship with the U.S. And Mark Carney says Donald Trump assured him personally that this will kickstart negotiations. The move drew a quick response from the White House, but criticism from others. Olivia Stefanovich walks us through the change to come and the reaction.
The Prime Minister emerged on a quiet summer day in Ottawa to jolt the country with major economic news.
Canada and the United States have reestablished free trade for the vast majority of our goods.
Starting September 1st, Canada will scrap the 25% counter-tariffs it placed on American goods covered by the North American Free Trade Deal, a gesture in the hopes it will reset the relationship with the U.S.
Do you have any assurances from the Americans that this will kickstart negotiations? Did President Trump specifically say that in his conversation with you?
Yes.
He's removing his retaliatory tariffs, which I thought was nice.
The two leaders discussed the move on Thursday, their first one-on-one call since blowing past Donald Trump's August 1st trade deal deadline.
We are working on something. We want to be very good to Canada. I like Carney a lot. I think he's a good person.
The announcement had the desired effect at the White House.
He promised he would have elbows up,
but faced criticism here at home.
Today we learned that it has been yet another capitulation and climb down by Mark Carney.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford says he stressed to the Prime Minister vital sectors like steel and auto are still being hurt by tariffs and need relief.
Our hope is that we can come to a bilateral arrangement which takes some pressure off the sectoral tariffs.
Steel, aluminum, and autos are still subject to tariffs in both countries, but the U.S. levy on steel and aluminum is double Canada's. When asked if that will change,
Those are part of the intensive discussions that we're underway right now.
In the coming weeks, Carney says Canada's focus will also be on the upcoming renegotiation of CUSMA, the free trade agreement with the U.S. Carney calls it the best deal any country has in the world, covering the vast majority of goods that cross the border. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
Let's bring in David Cochrane now, host of Power and Politics. David, how significant is this move by Prime Minister Mark Carney?
Well, it's significant because it exposes him to real criticism that this is a capitulation, that this is a concession to the U.S. with nothing in return. But it also may have been a real necessity, Susan, because the retaliatory tariffs that Canada imposed hits goods that are compliant with CUSMA. The U.S. tariffs, as bad as they are outside of the sectoral tariffs, they have an exemption for goods and trade that is compliant with the trade agreement. This was becoming a real irritant in the conversations with the Americans, and the fear was that the U.S. would just end its exemption if Canada didn't get rid of its counter tariffs. And that would then expose even more swaths of the economy to the 35% tariffs that the Trump announced for August 1st. And that would have done economic damage above and beyond what is already happening with auto and steel and the other sectors that are being hit right now.
Not ideal. Carney, of course, ran on this issue of U.S. tariffs And there is no trade deal yet. So where does this move leave him politically?
You know, it's impossible to know the costs until you know the outcome. You saw the criticism from the opposition leader of concession and capitulation. Do Canadians think that Carney will have failed if this doesn't lead to the deal? If this opens the door to a negotiation that gets you to a conclusion, then it could be worth it. But otherwise, there is real risk of real cost. Even now, some of his allies, like the head of Unifor, have expressed some concern that this is a concession and not the way you deal with Donald Trump. So the coalition, it's holding, but you're starting to see some fraying.
All right. David Cochrane in Ottawa.
Thank you.
Those counter-tariffs were meant to hurt the U.S., but they also raised costs for many here in Canada. Jayla Bernstein with the reaction from businesses tonight.
This Montreal grocer says his prices have stayed low despite the trade war. He sells local produce as much as possible and only stocks American products when there's no alternative.
So this one effect, this is like a lot. $2 a unit for one barrel is a lot. And the big one, we used to sell $10.99, $15.99.
So that's something in a few weeks that maybe will come down?
Maybe come down. So we'll see.
Broadly, Ottawa's announcement that it will lift many counter-tariffs has Canadian businesses breathing a sigh of relief.
A lot of businesses have been trying to absorb the tariffs up until now and not have it reflect in their pricing to a much great degree. So this might give them a little bit of breathing room.
Canada and China were the only countries to slap counter-tariffs on the United States. A tough hill to climb, more or less alone.
Those tariffs were not having an effect and an impact, partly because you're 1/10 of the size of their economy. And so to use the analogy, if they're an elephant, we're a beaver, we're gnawing away at them, but the elephant's not noticing.
Counter-tariffs will be lifted on U.S. products that are CUSMA compliant. That could include citrus, cosmetics, and sporting equipment, but will remain on American steel, aluminum, and autos as the government tries to iron out a new trade deal and focus on sectors still hit by U.S. tariffs.
For steel, aluminum, copper, lumber industry, there are still tariffs right now, and there are still counter-tariffs in place, but the trade war for them is still very much a short-term issue. They're in the middle of it right now, so we should not forget about them.
The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says while many initially supported retaliation, that attitude has waned, and a shift in strategy is a welcome change. Jayla Bernstein, CBC News, Montreal.
A fatal bus crash in upstate New York saw some passengers thrown from the vehicle as it rolled off the highway.
It is a tour bus coming out of Niagara Falls back to what we believe New York City, and it had about 50+ passengers on that, women, children.
Officials say 5 people were killed and several more were injured. The bus was traveling on Interstate 90 east of Buffalo when it lost control. Mechanical failure and driver intoxication have both been ruled out. Tonight, we're learning why Nova Scotia police do not suspect foul play in the case of a brother and sister who went missing nearly 4 months ago. CBC News was among those who fought for court documents on the case to be released. Shayna Luck now with what they reveal about the search for Lilly and Jack Sullivan.
Daniel Martel knew he was a likely suspect when his 2 stepchildren disappeared. He says police have looked at everything from his cell phone to his banking records.
I really have no problem with it. It's not like I have anything to hide.
In fact, he says he's tried to help, like early in the investigation when police found a scrap of blanket on a nearby road.
I called it into RCMP when I realized it was a piece of a pink blanket found.
The rest was here in Martel's trash bin. That blanket, one of the only clues as to what happened to 6-year-old Lilly and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan, who vanished from their home in rural Nova Scotia on the morning of May 2nd. Now, newly unsealed court documents are giving fresh insight into the investigation. CBC News and other media organizations fought for their release. They describe how police examined cell phone and banking records for the children's mother and stepfather. People close to the children passed polygraph tests, and investigators reviewed 3 days of surveillance videos showing people leaving Nova Scotia by car. As recently as mid-July, investigators wrote, Jack and Lily's disappearance is not believed to be criminal in nature. This retired police staff sergeant says almost all missing children cases start with examining the parents, and this level of scrutiny is nothing unusual.
Especially the last people to be with them, so they could say, where they were. What was the time frame? Where did you go? What did you do?
He believes the officers investigating the case will not give up, and their stepfather agrees.
They've done a full background check, as much as they could possibly do, and I mean, I'm pretty thankful for them to spend the time and spend the resources to try to figure out everything.
The RCMP declined an interview but said intensive work is still going on to find Lilly and Jack. They're evaluating more than 700 tips and 9,000 videos. Shane Luck, CBC News, Lansdowne Station.
For months, there were warnings about the food crisis in Gaza. Now tonight, for the first time, a key UN-backed agency has confirmed there is famine in Gaza. Israel vehemently denies it. Margaret Evans shows us what that hunger looks like, and a warning some of the images are hard to watch.
There is no famine in Gaza, according to Israel. Even as mothers like Mudala Dawas watch their children slipping from their grasp. Her 9-year-old daughter, Mariam, almost too frail and brittle to hold on to. Very sick, says Mariam. I was in grade 1. I used to go to school. Mariam is one of an estimated 500,000 Palestinians facing starvation, destitution, and death, according to the IPC, the world's leading authority on food insecurity, confirming famine in Gaza City. The UN calls it irrefutable.
Watched over by drones and the most advanced military technology in history. It is a famine openly promoted by some Israeli leaders as a weapon of war.
Israel reimposed an aid blockade on Gaza in March, starting to allow some in recent weeks. Israel dismisses the IPC report as Hamas propaganda. The Prime Minister's office saying Israel does not have a policy of starvation and that the report ignores Israel's humanitarian efforts. We put that to save the children on the ground in Gaza.
We are seeing our nutrition clinics packed with young children showing severe symptoms of malnutrition.
Dan Stewart says the trickle of aid coming in isn't enough.
You would expect in a packed health clinic there to be children crying, you would expect it to be noisy, but it's almost silent because so many of the children coming in are too weak even to cry.
Gaza's children don't just fear dying of hunger, they also fear the war. And so does Mariam's mother, Widala. I pressure her to eat so she can stay healthy a little bit, she says. If we're displaced, she can't walk. The IPC report comes as Israel prepares for a full-scale ground invasion of Gaza City, expected to result in more mass displacement. Margaret Evans, CBC News, Jerusalem.
After high-profile summits this week, there's still little sign of progress on an end to the war in Ukraine, a war that has touched some Canadians personally. Briar Stewart is in Kyiv tonight and spoke to a Calgary man who has fought for Ukraine and paid a heavy price.
No, it's good.
This is Mac Hughes' very first day in rehabilitation after nearly 2 months in hospital. The 23-year-old from Calgary is learning to walk again after he was wounded in a drone attack in southeastern Ukraine on Canada Day.
Big explosion, trapped under a vehicle, burnt legs, and my teammates pulling me out of the fire. They're all the way up to here.
Third-degree burns cover half of his legs, and the upper part is raw from where skin was taken for grafts. Matt came to Ukraine in 2022 and volunteered alongside his father, Paul. They set up Hugs, a humanitarian group based in Kharkiv. But Mac wanted to do more. He joined the Ukrainian military, and on July 1st, he says, his vehicle was hit by a Shahed drone.
I knew that call when I looked at the phone. It was like 4:20 and somebody's calling me from an unknown number. You just have that, hits you in the gut right away. And
his father has barely left his side since.
Everybody's proud of you, son. Everybody's proud of you, everybody's cheering you on.
Mac is exhausted, and not just from the physical pain. As he lay in his hospital bed in Kiev in July, the sounds of the record-breaking drone attacks in that city gave him flashbacks.
Still to this day, it rings through my head sometimes, and it's hard.
But Mac feels grateful because he will be able to walk on his own again. And the cherished tattoo, which he got during his first year in Ukraine,
It's Ukraine and Canada combined.
is still very much intact.
I thought that my arm, the tattoo was going to be burnt, but they took the bandage off, and I was like, the first thing I said is, Ukraine always survives. Well done, son.
Mac hopes to eventually resume at least some of his military duties, but for now he's focused on being able to take those first small steps. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Kiev.
North Korea aired video of ceremonies honoring its soldiers who fought on the Russian side against Ukraine. Leader Kim Jong-un paid tribute to troops he called victorious in an overseas operation. According to South Korean intelligence, Pyongyang sent 15,000 soldiers, about 600 of whom died fighting for Russia.
I thought you'd all like to see it. That's a man named Vladimir Putin, who I believe will be coming, depending on what happens. He may be coming and he may not.
That is Donald Trump referring to his belief that the Russian president will be in the U.S. for the World Cup soccer tournament next year. When asked about his bid to end the war in Ukraine, Trump raised the possibility of taking further action, including sanctions, in 2 weeks, though he didn't say against whom. The White House is taking action now against former National Security Advisor John Bolton, citing broad concern about him as the FBI raids his home. Cameron McIntosh explains while the facts of the investigation are unclear, it's stoking fears that Donald Trump is going after his critics.
In the early morning, FBI agents raiding former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton's Maryland home and D.C. office, searching for classified documents. What happened, sir? Returning home, Bolton friendly but silent, as the president insisted he knew nothing about it.
I'm not a fan of John Bolton. He's a real sort of a lowlife.
Trump doesn't really understand how our nuclear navy works.
Bolton, a fixture on cable news, is a vocal critic, dismissive of Trump's recent summit with Vladimir Putin.
Putin is beginning to work his magic, and that will change Trump's view.
In 2018, Trump named Bolton his third national security advisor.
You are going to do a fantastic job.
17 months later, Trump fired him by tweet. Bolton later published a scathing tell-all memoir of his time in the Trump White House. Trump claimed their meetings were classified.
If the book gets out, he's broken the law.
Bolton was investigated, never charged. Vice President J.D. Vance insisting this is not political.
Classified documents are certainly part of it, but I think that there's a broad concern about Ambassador Bolton.
During the raid, Trump appointed FBI Director Kash Patel posted, "No one is above the law. FBI agents on mission." That was reposted by the Attorney General. All of it fueling more accusations Trump is targeting critics and political opponents.
Please count me in the camp of the suspicious of what's going on right now.
His first day back in office, Trump canceled security protection for Bolton, who faces death threats from Iran.
My house was raided also.
Today, the president said he knows something about searches for classified documents. In 2022, the FBI found some in his Mar-a-Lago estate.
So I know the feeling. It's not a good feeling.
Trump was charged. The case dropped after he was reelected. There are no charges against Bolton so far. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Washington.
Canada has lost a horse racing giant, Hall of Fame jockey Ron Turcotte. The New Brunswicker who rode Secretariat to the Triple Crown has died.
The Triple Crown winner. Here comes Secretariat to the wire. An unbelievable, an amazing performance.
Turcotte set a record that day in 1973, and it still stands. It was one of more than 3,000 races in his career before it was cut short by a fall that made him paraplegic. Turcotte passed away today at the age of 84, his family remembering him as not only a famous jockey, but a wonderful husband and a loving father. If you've ever sat on hold for hours waiting to talk to the Canada Revenue Agency, you're not alone.
It's becoming traumatic.
And the CRA Workers Union says it could get worse. Why? Next. And one of the biggest rock shows of the year hits Canada.
We couldn't get tickets in England, so we've had to come here.
The Oasis tour is getting rave reviews, but some say the stadium is still working out the kinks. And Extreme Home Makeover White House edition.
How would you describe the walls and the decor of the Oval Office now, Tommy?
To be direct, it's pretty gaudy and it's pretty tacky.
We're back in 2.
Celebrate the arrival of our Marty McFly, Mr. Michael J. Fox!
And you're looking at Canadian film legend Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd on stage together tonight in the Fan Expo in Toronto to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the classic sci-fi adventure Back to the Future. It's also a major anniversary for Fan Expo itself. The Canadian Fan Convention started 30 years ago. Frustration is mounting among Canadians trying to get through to the Canada Revenue Agency. Instead of getting help, they say, they're put on hold for hours. And as Sophia Harris explains, the union representing call center workers warns it could get even harder.
All of our agents are busy helping other callers.
For weeks, Krista Tucker-Petrick has been greeted with an automated recording every time she calls the Canada Revenue Agency.
It's becoming traumatic.
And no matter how many times I call,
Despite calling multiple times each day, Tucker-Petrick has yet to get through to address a tax issue involving her late stepmother's estate.
I have a fiduciary duty to 3 other beneficiaries of this estate. But until I can get this done, I cannot distribute the remainder of the estate. So it's exceptionally frustrating.
Tucker-Petrick has company. Social media is flooded with complaints.
try our new AI-powered chatbot.
This bookkeeper says staff at her company take turns spending the entire day calling the CRA to address urgent client matters and are rarely successful in getting through.
Some days we wish we had a screaming room in the office because we literally want to scream.
The union representing CRA workers is also sounding the alarm. It launched a social media campaign this week claiming less than 5% of callers reach an agent due to nearly 3,300 CRA call center job cuts since May 2024.
We're advocating for them to stop the bleeding.
The union's president estimates between 3,500 and 4,000 call center workers remain. And he warns more cuts are coming due to the federal government's plan to significantly reduce program spending over the next several years.
This is absolutely unsustainable. It's not acceptable. It's not the level of service that we want to give, that our members want to give.
In an email to CBC News, the CRA says it has a fluctuating workforce due to seasonal hires, and that although budget constraints affect staffing numbers, serving Canadians remains a priority.
So much time just hitting.
But several CRA callers say something needs to change.
What's your message to the government?
Help.
She and others hope that someone in the government is listening.
The status of your tax return.
Sophia Harris, CBC News, Toronto.
Oasis fans getting ready for the weekend's big concert are hyped.
How long have you been waiting so far?
4 hours.
We hit the pre-show merch line to find out why fans are over the moon about the return of the Gallaghers. And Donald Trump's redesign of the White House involves a lot of gold.
I doubt we will ever have a president who likes gold as much as Donald Trump.
From the decor to the architecture, the president is set on making his mark. And an exclusive look at the Made in Canada science in extreme conditions.
We're looking for very minuscule fiber like microplastics.
Do you think they are here?
Absolutely.
The National takes you deeper into the stories shaping our world. Next.
Strikes out another one. Got him with a changeup, 2 down.
A great start to the game tonight for Blue Jays pitcher Shane Bieber, his first in a Toronto uniform and his first big league game since the 2-time All-Star underwent Tommy John elbow surgery last year. The first place Jays acquired the former Cy Young Award winner at the trade deadline. Oasis fans are flocking to Toronto for 2 sold-out concerts on the mega band's reunion tour. Sunday and Monday are the only Canadian dates for a group that hasn't played here in 16 years. Ali Chiasson shows us the growing excitement along with some trepidation.
Oasis live in 2025. Fans never thought they'd see the day, but sure enough. Oasis is set to play 2 sold-out shows in Toronto starting Sunday.
Where were you while we were getting high?
Your fans? Well, they were buying all the merch they could find.
Anything, mainly T-shirts.
Anything that's left, eh? Vinyl?
Anything that's left, anything at all.
Tickets were hard enough to come by.
We couldn't get tickets in England, so we've had to come here.
I never thought I would get the chance to see him, but now I do.
Noel and Liam Gallagher have a famously fraught relationship.
They could get in a big fight and the tour could be over. So every ticket is potentially the last one, which I think is kind of beautiful.
What may be not so beautiful, getting to and from Rogers Stadium at an old airfield about 40 minutes from the city centre. Last month, Chris Martin from Coldplay dissed it as a
weird stadium in the middle of nowhere.
The stadium's been criticized for poor crowd control and long waits for concert goers.
Everyone is trying to get to public transit or to get to rideshare or to get to their parking and get out of there all at the same time. And that's also creating what we would call a peak load. That's much harder for transit and the road network to handle.
The city says it's been working with the promoter, Live Nation, Toronto Police and Public Transit to minimize the crowding. Fans will accept the wait for merch. Check out the line at the pop-up shop.
How long have you been waiting so far?
4 hours. I was hoping to get some Adidas stuff, like the jerseys, but apparently they're all sold out, so.
Uh-oh.
I'm lucky that I could grab the last few ones.
But more than the merch, it's the songs that make the memories.
Champagne Supernova from my favorite from back in the day.
Probably Wonderwall.
Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
All right, let's break down the news shaping our world.
At the waterline.
Canadian researchers in the Southern Ocean taking water and sediment samples to track global contaminants.
Represents about probably 1,000 years of history at the bottom of the ocean.
We'll take you aboard a rare all-Canadian scientific expedition in Antarctica. But first, Donald Trump's White House makeover for a Mar-a-Lago estate feel from the Oval Office decor to the Rose Garden patio. His personal touch shows his love for gold.
The only question is, will a gold leaf the corners?
As Eli Glasner shows us, while aesthetic changes at the White House are not uncommon for U.S. presidents, Trump's transformation goals could significantly reshape the iconic landmark.
Have you seen what's happening at the White House? I don't mean the politics. I mean on the walls and the lawn.
Something that holds a big spot in American history and culture just being literally paved over.
And Trump isn't finished.
The White House State Ballroom will be a much-needed and exquisite addition of approximately 90,000 total square feet.
Dramatic changes for a building so recognizable, it's almost its own movie star.
Here we are.
Wow.
Crenelated molding. Love it.
Especially the place where the president works.
It has to represent the continuity of the executive branch, but it also has to yield to the personal needs and tastes of each administration.
Linda Matisse-Brandt is an art history professor in South Carolina.
The Oval Office is especially iconic, and it's in the name. It is an oval.
Welcome to the Oval Office. Come on in.
As President Biden explained to Architectural Digest, each president makes the office their own.
I chose the things that sort of represent why I got into public life to begin with.
But as Trump began his second term, the Oval went from this to this.
But unfortunately, I think we must talk about the incredibly unfortunate redesign.
Tommy Langdon Herder is an interior designer and content creator.
How would you describe the walls and the decor of the Oval Office now, Tommy?
To be direct, it's pretty gaudy and it's pretty tacky. I think one thing in design in particular, one thing you're always thinking about is where is the eye going and where is it landing? And I'd say the Oval Office right now, it's one of those spaces where your eye doesn't have anywhere to land.
As a preservationist who appreciates the White House's neoclassical style, Brandt says Trump has made some dramatic changes.
He has been aggressive, and that's not surprising. I mean, this is someone who has made their reputation internationally as a real estate developer, definitely more than any president in my lifetime, but probably since FDR, the public has a better sense of what his taste is than any other president. I don't know what kind of chairs or style of architecture President Obama likes, right?
But when it comes to the current president, Trump likes gold.
Gold picture frames, molding, cherubs, even the crest on the ceiling. According to the Wall Street Journal, Trump flew a cabinet maker who had worked at Mar-a-Lago on Air Force One to the White House for the golden touches.
The only question is, will a gold leaf the corners?
With the gilding and all these decals that are getting added, it's completely rejecting the actual design of the Oval Office and the overall White House itself.
And as far as the gilding, he's gold leafing everything that is raced.
How do you feel about that, Lydia?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, this is a democracy. We will have another president, and I doubt we will ever have a president who likes gold as much as Donald Trump.
On the exterior, Trump has already left his mark. Well, a few. Erecting 2 new flagpoles, and then there's the Rose Garden.
Are you paving over the grass here?
What was happening is that's supposed to have events. Every event you have, it's soaking wet.
Yeah.
It's soaking wet, and people can't. And the women with the high heels, it's just too much.
So gone is the grass, replaced by what Trump calls gorgeous stone.
It's sad to see something like that go. It's even sadder to see it replaced with just a slab of pavement.
I mean, how do you feel about these dramatic changes that he says he's going to be able to do within a few years?
Which is extremely ambitious. And it'll be very interesting to see if that's possible. The ballroom would be the biggest change to the White House complex that's visible, that's architectural.
A few days before Trump was seen on the roof surveying the White House grounds, the administration announced plans to build a 90,000 square foot ballroom, making it larger than a football field and a significant change to the White House footprint.
Currently, you'll notice the East Wing and the West Wing of the White House are really low structures, whereas this ballroom it's like the same height. It's just as imposing, it's bigger than the main structure of the White House.
But as Professor Brandt points out, as America has evolved, so has the White House. The iconic porticos, or pillars, added after the War of 1812. The East Wing built in 1942 to accommodate the growing war government.
What will be interesting about this ballroom especially, and I think if Trump is successful in building it, it'll be a space that is really associated with him.
For Herder, the changes symbolize something bigger.
How he's imposing choices, it's overwhelming, and it's similar to what they're doing everywhere else.
Flood the zone, right?
Flood the zone, do 100 executive orders, because who could possibly have time to go through them all or communicate that to the public?
With construction slated to start in September, the American Institute of Architects has already issued a statement expressing concern about the massive changes, saying in part, the White House is not a private building. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is the People's House.
And in light of the ballroom construction Eli mentioned, public tours of the White House will reportedly be paused indefinitely starting next month. Next, Canadian scientists are learning about the world by studying Antarctica.
Probably 1,000 years of history at the bottom of the ocean.
1,000 years of sediment here.
Probably something like that.
What the past, buried deep under the ocean here, can tell us about the future. Rapid changes in Antarctica could have global consequences. Hoping to help track them, more than a dozen Canadian scientists gathering samples on the first ever all-Canadian expedition to the isolated continent.
We can get a clearer pictures of the past climate change and then being able to predict what's going to happen in the next 50 to 100 years.
Back in the spring, I journeyed with the Canadian Navy and the team of scientists aboard HMCS Margaret Brooke as they search for clues on what's happening in Antarctica. As night falls in Antarctica, the Navy ship HMCS Margaret Brooke darkens, switching to all red light.
Slewing in.
But there's still work to do.
At the waterline.
On the quarterdeck, a hive of discovery.
Yeah, let's bring it on board.
A long net pulled out of the ocean and hosed down carries small organisms which play a vital role.
So just seeing here mostly voracious filter feeders. They eat particles, organic matter that's in the water column, and then they poop it out. So
They'll be examining these salps for contaminants.
Here, this is a solitary form. Yeah.
The scientists are educating the Navy's top commander, Vice Admiral Angus Topshee, on oceanography.
You'll have to forgive my science as well. I was an arts major, so anything I say the Navy has taught me.
I'll stop, please.
We're going to collect water.
Brent Else is sampling the Southern Ocean water using a CTD Lars, custom built in Canada. It plunges deep into the ocean under high pressure to capture water at different depths. Here, as deep as a kilometer.
Roger, holding.
The rosette, as it's called, comes up brimming with water.
And then we get a cap on right away.
For the average layperson, you know, water is water. So you've got a whole ocean out there. You're collecting water and you're putting it in all these different containers. Why?
Well, because water isn't just water. In an ocean like this, there's lots of different water masses. There's lots of different types of water at different levels in the ocean.
Are you on 10 too, Sullivan?
I mostly measure dissolved carbon dioxide, and I'm interested in how carbon dioxide moves from the atmosphere into the ocean and then moves deep down in the ocean where it is sequestered for hundreds or thousands of years.
Bottle 5 has nutrients.
It's liquid gold for these scientists. Everyone wants a bit of it for their own investigations.
We all work together, we get the rosette train faster so we can go back in. And everybody gets to bed a little sooner.
The cold water in the Southern Ocean around Antarctica is a huge carbon sink, absorbing a lot of the carbon dioxide emissions we put into the atmosphere. But as the sea surface warms, that could change.
As the oceans warm, as circulation patterns change, it's expected that that ocean carbon sink will slow down over time. And the polar regions are the areas where those carbon sinks are most important.
For the last 3 weeks, 15 scientists from across Canada have turned the Navy vessel into a research ship.
50 meters.
Working with a Navy crew to maneuver the boats.
Take time off stern as well.
Operate the crane, lower the winch, and generally assist them daily to gather up samples.
The time's 19:18, and we are at 147 feet.
In this extreme environment, there's been a lot of learning.
Good to go, you have permission to launch.
This team is trying to haul up mud from the ocean floor, using what looks like a torpedo, weighted to plunge it into the seabed with force.
150.
Jeremy Bentley is on the winch.
200.
The seabed sediment will tell them a story.
Coming back in. Gonna put them on 2 feet. Okay, you can lower my head sleep. Ready?
Got it?
Yeah, got it.
It definitely looks more disturbed at the top than the other one, but we'll keep this one just in case it's the best in the end.
Sophia Johannesson will slice up the cores to analyze.
Whatever happens in the surface above, the particles sink down and they build up layers in the mud, the newer ones on top of the older ones, and we can read that history back through time and we can learn from it. It's been pretty hectic. The first day was a bit of a disaster for field work. Pretty much everything went wrong that could go wrong.
They adjusted and managed to fill a fridge full of samples. Turns out all mud doesn't look the same.
If we take this core out, for example,
and it's different ages.
this is a section that's about 1.5 meters long, and so represents about probably 1,000 years of history at the bottom of the ocean.
1,000 years of sediment here.
Probably something like that. You can see that the sediment is much darker.
Alex Normando and Karen Douglas will send these samples back to Halifax to be X-rayed.
We use an X-ray, yeah. It helps to enhance areas of the core that are denser than others.
We can get a clearer pictures of the past climate change, and then being able to predict what's going to happen in the next 50 to 100 years here in Antarctica.
Antarctica is a coveted lab. One of the few places in the world which has mostly escaped a heavy human footprint. Sandy Steffen and Jeff Stupple are sampling snow for what shouldn't be here. Contaminants like mercury deposits and microplastics.
They can travel long distances from source regions into remote areas like the Antarctic. So we're looking for very minuscule fiber-like microplastics to see where they've come from.
Do you think they are here?
Absolutely. Mercury is a problem because once it gets into the ecosystem, it can turn into a very nasty toxic form.
They'll keep the snow frozen until it gets back to Canada for many researchers to analyze what's hidden inside.
When I talk to people about the impact of climate change on things, they just consider warming. And they consider, you know, like the ice is melting and all this. And I said, yes, but what happens when the ice melts?
Yeah, so there's a bit of a clearance too that's closer to that iceberg on the other side.
The HMCS Margaret Brooke carried the science team well past the Antarctic Circle.
Between the two mountains, that's our channel.
Breaking ice to get through.
Okay, roger.
Revealing the powerful icy contours of Antarctica. While sailing to the most southerly point the Canadian Navy has ever been.
Port 15.
With the fieldwork in Antarctica mostly done now, the expedition turns back north.
Slow ahead, both engines.
Leaving time finally for reflection.
One of my goals in coming here was to make the Navy fall in love with science, so that they would just want to, keep working with us and keep going on adventures with us. And we've had nothing but support, and that's great.
As Mission Antarctica comes to a close. And you can watch the full Mission CBC in Antarctica everywhere you stream CBC News. When we come back, a surprise that might give even the most ardent believer a moment of pause.
Basically say, like, Vegas, I got a special guest for you guys tonight. Give it up for Justin Bieber.
How a lookalike fooled a packed Vegas nightclub. He's not who you think it is. This is a fake Justin Bieber who managed to perform on stage at a popular nightclub in Las Vegas. He performed the hit song Sorry almost as if he was apologizing in advance for fooling everyone. It's our moment.
As I'm making my way to the stage to start my set, I do see a group of people and what I think is Bieber at the most VIP table. I just kind of get like a head nod and like a high five. No real like dialogue. In Vegas, like this kind of stuff does happen from time to time. Some of the people that I work with are patting me like on the shoulder during the set, being like, he wants to come up and basically say like, Vegas, I got a special guest for you guys tonight. Give it up for Justin Bieber. The place just goes wild. And it was honestly like one of the crazier Vegas moments I've had in my residency tenure. He plays one song and then he kind of just like runs off stage. And after my set, talking to my manager about it, and he's like, I swear to you on my life, that was not Justin Bieber. And I was just like shocked beyond belief. And I was so convinced it was happening. And I'm just like shrugging it off, laughing it off, and honestly kind of impressed that he was able to get as far as he did.
Indeed. The impersonator's name is Dylan Declos, who apparently racked up a $10,000 bill at the club. He did pay it eventually, but he wasn't welcomed back there. Strange things in Vegas. Thank you for being with us. You can watch anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Susan Ormiston. Have a good weekend.